We said we were going to discuss finances in the relationship.
Finances in the relationship.
Dun, 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 dun.
Which is a big topic because that is one of the leading causes of divorce.
Yes.
I agree.
Now, let me say this. A lot of women, you ask them, well, what kind of man you want? They say, well, I want a man with a lot of money. First of all, I mean, a man with a lot of money is different from a man with money and a man with money and willing to share it.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
a lot of women get that misunderstood. I mean, you be in a relationship, you know, constantly giving. Still, you have this man with this money.
And he beats you with
And
that money.
it really, I mean, hey, you're losing. So, hey, you have to be careful what you ask for.
Finances is very important. Finances is very important even before you begin the relationship. Sometimes we get in relationships and we don't know how that brother's finances are. We don't know if he has good credit. We don't know if he owes some money or if he's constantly in debt. Because if you're building the foundation, you need to know what kind of support can they provide. Not provide 100% and you only 20, but provide 50-50. And a lot of times we don't discuss that in the beginning because we feel like, well, I don't want to ask him that because I don't want him to, you know, shy away from me or feel like, okay, we just met. I don't want to discuss it. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be with you. You know, but these are things you need to discuss in the beginning.
You need to because, first of all, I'm going to tell you, today most men will ask you, what do you want out of this relationship? And you need to know what to tell them because they're going to give you exactly what you tell them.
Yeah.
If it's nothing, they're going to give you nothing. And if the man is really into you, he's going to give you what you ask for.
So how far down the road, you know, after you get to know someone, that you discuss finances?
I discussed it right away.
Me too.
And I don't just say to the person, well, how much money you make or anything like that. What I do is try to get a sense of their mindset, and that'll tell me a lot. Like, I'll ask a man, so do you think that a man is the head of a household? Do you think that a man should provide? Do you think that in a relationship, do you prefer traditional roles, or do you think that men and women should be 50-50? You know, I'll ask them that type of questions. I'll also ask them, you know, what is it that you want out of life? And a lot of times, you can kind of tell a person's financial perspective based on how they answer those questions. And then once you're into that conversation, you know, you and the person may feel comfortable enough to open up and discuss, you know, credit, you know, how much they make, or, you know, what kind of lifestyle they want to have, you know.
Well, that's the thing with me though. I don't tell nobody how much money I make.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they like what you make enough. You know what I'm saying? But still, you as a guy, you know what I'm saying? If I'm going to be a female, I'm going to make you happy and I'm going to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for it, but I mean, I'm not saying that it's a must, but you know what I'm saying? Only by right, you as my man should allow me to have a weekly allowance. You know what I'm saying?
Let me give you a scenario. This is the scenario. You meet a guy and he is flourishing you with gifts and money, and you're kind of blinded by all of this because you're loving the conversation, he's making you happy, you communicate, everything is good. So he's giving you all these gifts, he's taking you here, he's taking you there. I mean, you also, you know, taking him out and showing that, you know, I'm also independent, I can also treat to dinner as well. But then, over time, you're with this person for years, and then the money flow is not the same, and then you realize when y'all finally get to just a little bit of money, that person has a habit where they just spend way beyond their means. Before they had that money, so you couldn't really see it because you were blinded. But once you get down to, okay, now we're on a budget, you notice a habit that you didn't notice before in the beginning because it was so much, you really couldn't calculate, well, he spends a lot, and he doesn't know how to balance his money because it kept flowing constantly, so you never saw the setback from not having any money. What do?
That's when I would discuss what babes, you know.
But it's too late.
Well,
the habit has already.
But the thing about it, he has a habit. Any habit can be broken. You know, any habit you have can be broken.
If they choose to.
If they choose to. And you can understand that you can be in love, but you have, in any relationship, communication is a big key.
Yeah.
Baby, I understand that we don't have them. I remember back in the days when we had the money like this and it was flowing like this and that. But you do understand that we don't have it like this anymore. And I have been in that situation before too. You know, and what he did is he started sneaking and buying stuff. You know, and hiding it. You know, and of course, it's a lot that you can't. You know, there's only so much you can do. And you could just run out. Just say, hey, listen, I know that you're still doing this, but this is only putting us behind. Where do you want to go in life?
That's where the problems start, though. That's where the problems, that's where the distrust comes in, and
that's true.
the arguments and you know the dislikes, and then you're not getting the foreplay, you're not getting anything, because this one thing has become very big because you didn't discuss it in the beginning. You
Contract. That was exactly my point. You didn't discuss that in the beginning.
But there's so many of us that don't, because we think it's not proper, it's not appropriate to be discussing finances like that in the beginning. Sometimes we ignore that and we ignore the signs.
That's really not appropriate, but I mean, it's
very not appropriate.
What I'm saying, it's really not appropriate. But if you think that you somehow and this guy is gonna go any farther, then hey.
Okay, well, let's be specific. What exactly is not appropriate? I would agree to ask a person how much they make is not appropriate. And
that's not appropriate.
But I believe to discuss finances, I think it is appropriate. Maybe not on the first date, but if you see that a person is getting serious, I think it is. Because one of the things that I always ask a man is, in your relationships, who handles the money? Because in most of my relationships, I handle the money. Yeah. Not because I wanted to be in control, but because me and the person sat down and said, okay, your skills at handling money are better than mine. And we could go further if you handle the money.
Yes.
So I think that that's very important. And believe it or not, men are open to that. If you discuss that. You know what? I've had that conversation before. That is a very traditional role because the woman handles the household. Mm-hmm. So it's traditional for the man to make the money and let his woman handle the household things. And so
I've seen that because I do that as well, but I've also seen the other side where the man he brings the money in and he handles it as well.
Well, true. That's because a lot of women don't want to handle it. They don't want to be a part of that. They want to feel taken care of. Exactly. But I'm saying if we're talking about your scenario and how to avoid that, then that's what I'm saying, that you have to have the conversation of, and it doesn't have to be just one person handling the money. You can decide that, okay, we're both good at handling the money. So, we're going to split these responsibilities. It's your responsibility to make sure that we're saving and investing. It's your responsibility to make sure that these bills are paid. That's if everybody is equal, But it's been my case that a lot of times, like you said, that when men have money, they don't have that balance to go with it. It's the woman who brings that balance. And so traditionally, I know that a lot of women, even though their man makes the money, they make sure that the bills are paid. They make sure that the accounts are straight. And, that's the way that they keep from, and even further on that, so that both parties still have money to do whatever they want to do. A lot of times people have a joint account.
I was about to say
that pays the bills and vacation and savings and all that. But then on the side, they each have their own personal account. So
how does that work for people though?
It worked wonderfly for me because
to have separate accounts and a joint account, or joint accounts and no separate accounts.
No,
or all three.
It works, to me it works best when you have a joint account that's for joint purposes. Okay. And then you have a separate account that's for separate things.
Yeah. Has that created distrust though?
It never has.
Not necessarily, because if you all have say you have all the money going in toward if you all making separate, it's gonna be pretty hard. Yeah, exactly. But you have
a set amount of bills.
You all put a certain amount of money in that bill account, that household account per month. Okay, honey, we made this and we have the kids, so let's both contribute this amount of money.
so you're splitting all the bills, but at the end of the day, your income after that may be lower than
Well,
your
first
main.
of all, it's an individual preference. You and your mate have to sit down and say that. But it can also be balanced by if you're making most of the money, then maybe you put more money into the joint account.
Okay.